Hello, my viewers and subscribers. Welcome to another episode of Jamaica Politics Uncovered. If you're a new subscriber, welcome. Returning subscribers, welcome back. Guys, I just wanted to put some clarity to a lot of the confusion that is happening regarding the Vybz Kartel Privy Council verdict. Some people don't seem to understand what the verdict means. First things first, Vybz Kartel was not acquitted. If he was acquitted, he would have left out of the penitentiary from yesterday. What the Privy Council basically said is that there is a technical problem, several technical problems with the case. Therefore, that verdict is null and void. And therefore, the Jamaica Court of Appeals should hear it like they should have initially. So, that does not make Kartel free or acquitted. What it means is the Court of Appeals must hear the case, and when they hear the case, they're going to have to decide if they want to do a retrial or whatever other options may be available to them. In the meantime, Vybz Kartel and his co-accused can and will apply for bail. So if he was acquitted, he would not need to apply for bail. Listen to this news report from New York and I'll come back to you.
There's some confusion about the Privy Council's decision in the Vybz Kartel case. So this is what we know so far from his attorney, Isaac Buchanan, who was in the courtroom in London when the decision was read. I just spoke with him. Attorney Buchanan says this is a victory for Kartel and his three co-defendants because the convictions were quashed. But this does not mean that they will all go free right away. That's because the Privy Council referred the case back to the Jamaican Appeals Court. I asked him, does this mean Kartel and the co-defendants will be released pending the Jamaican court's decision about a retrial? And he says they will remain behind bars at least until a new hearing date is set and an application made. I expect to be talking with Mr. Buchanan again this afternoon. We'll get more details about this and how this is all going to play out. But he says the decision does not involve the release of Kartel and the three other men at this particular time. That's the latest from here in the Fox 5 newsroom in New York.
Yes, guys. So now, when people say victory for Kartel, what exactly is the victory? The victory is Kartel right now, him can get bail. He still has to be concerned about whether there's going to be a retrial, and if so, what is going to happen there. Will the people come back to testify against him? How will people now view the evidence? All that kind of stuff must be considered. So the victory is he can apply for bail, and he most likely will get bail. But even on bail, the case is still going to be hanging over his head if they decide to go ahead and do a retrial. So there's still more to be concerned about where this case is concerned. Listen to Dion Jackson Miller yesterday and what she had to say about the case. Listen to the options that the Privy Council had. 4 options. And listen to the option that they took. That should bring a lot of clarity.
Just recap again quickly what we're listening out for. It's whether or not there is going to be, the appeal is going to be allowed. That's what Bert Samuels was referring to when he said in that case they could be released. He says as early as today whether or not the court will uphold the conviction, in which case nothing changes, and this in fact would be their last gasp. This is a final court of appeal. There's nowhere left to go after the Privy Council, or whether they may say that there has been an irregularity. They are going to send it back to our Jamaican Court of Appeal for our Court of Appeal to decide if there should be a retrial, or whether they're going to say there was an irregularity, but the evidence is so strong and in the interest of justice that they're still upholding the conviction, in which case again the appellants, Kartel, and the others remain in jail. I should say as well, in relation to the issue of the, the issue of whether or not there is a retrial, that in those circumstances, there are serious concerns as to whether we can successfully hold a retrial. Because the Crown had one eyewitness, Lamar Chow, very strong, very cogent evidence, but everything hinged on him. If it is that he doesn't wish to come forward again, if it is that he doesn't hold up as well, what can happen? And there were so many witnesses in this particular matter, apart from Chow, although he was the sole eyewitness, the case hinged on him. There were exhibits, there were just a lot of moving parts. The trial, 64 days.
Right. And how well, you mean, those exhibits have been preserved in the 13 years since or 12 years since the trial?
And one of the things the cartel case showed us very embarrassingly is that we have a chain of custody issue. I think by far one of the most embarrassing things that happened for Jamaica in that trial was the issue of the cell phones, the fact that cartel cell phones, which were in the custody of the police, evidence came out during the trial that text had been sent from that phone and that calls had been made. And this is so abysmal and shocking for such a major case, for such an important piece of evidence to think that the police cannot properly secure the exhibits. So there are different things we're going to have to look at. We're going to have to look at that issue of exhibits, and this issue of jury management is going to be key.
You're a 45-year veteran. What do you tell me say you're 45 years?
Yeah. But I don't like when I give interview alone, you know. Miss Samuels have to be beside me.
Sure.
And she have the frame. Yes, go ahead.
Where does this case rank among those others that you have commissioned over in the past?
Well, this is the longest criminal trial, jury trial in the history of Jamaica. It was also in the Court of Appeal. We filed 135 pages of arguments, which was rejected by the Court of Appeal. It's the most voluminous case that I've ever done. It's the most popular case that I've ever done. And it has come to when I'm leaving the career, but I'll hang on because my inherited person, she will move on and she's got the brains. I just have the experience. Sean Campbell's attorneys filed 135 pages of arguments in the Jamaican Court of Appeal, but we didn't succeed there.
Is this an embarrassment for the Court of Appeal?
No, I mean, courts will make these mistakes. Courts will also do things which another court will review. No, intellectuals don't always agree. It's a disappointment to me that they didn't allow the appeal, but it's not a shame on our court. The court has brilliant judges. It's just that this time they got it wrong.
This time they got it wrong.
This time
do you hope that they'll get it right the next time? Do you foresee that?
No comment.
Well, the cost of mounting a retrial, would that be factored in?
Cost for who?
Well, for the government.
For the government, yes, the state has its apparatus well oiled and ready to go after him again, I figure. But I repeat that the cause of this appeal was because a state agency came in and encouraged the judge to continue the trial with the juror who was trying to bribe the others, and he has since been convicted. This is an offshoot of this case that ought not to have happened. No lawyer should be encouraging a judge to continue a case where one juror is alleged to be doing that misconduct. And I wanted to salute Pierre Rogers, who represented the accused and was in chambers. He represented one of the accused. The very point that Pierre Rogers raised, that there'll be an overcompensation by the jurors if the judge did not stop the case, is the very words of the Privy Council today. So I want to salute Pierre Rogers for his wisdom that he demonstrated when he tried to direct the judge in the right course, but it was not followed.
This whole journey.
Yes.
Mr. Palmer, he was the one who paid for everybody's...
he did what?
He paid for all the lawyers for the team.
I don't know anything about that. Sean Campbell, questions, please. Thank you.
Okay. Did you speak with your client before the judgment was handed down, and what was?
No, I haven't had a conversation with him. No doubt, when time settles down, I'll go to him to find out his decision as to what team he wants to go to the Jamaican Court of Appeal. It's all up to him.
Are you willing to represent him again? You and Ms. Samuels, of course.
Once he asks, and once we can come to an arrangement,
yes,
ready to fight.
As you said, you're going to be fighting for the bail. That's the first thing on the agenda.
His attorney, whoever he asks, no doubt will ask the first move for bail, for him to be out.
So isn't it natural that you would be the attorney to apply for bail for him?
No, remember, our retainer was to go to the Privy Council. Our retainer was, by Sean Campbell, was to go to the Jamaican Court of Appeal. Our retainer is now over. We have given him what he asked us to do, not guilty in the Privy Council.
This is
now
fresh matter.
In the court.
So the judgment by the Privy Council just now is not only applicable to Sean Campbell, but all the other men. Correct?
You heard that, yes. Okay. There was no distinction.
Okay.
So this case is now closed on your end, and then you would need a new judge, a new team. Not necessarily new in terms of new faces, but it's a new team that will now take over because it's now a new matter. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's a fresh matter where the client will decide who will be his attorney, and it will go to the Court of Appeal.
Well, I saw your face when the judgment was handed down. How are you feeling that your client is now not convicted? That's not on his name again.
It's like facing a hard examination and you hear that you passed with flying colors. Not all your colors, but a number of colors are in my wings now. And the hard work of Ms. Samuels, who went up to the Privy Council, I remained here. She went up to the Privy Council and she gave great support to Team Sean Campbell. What timeline? Oh yes, that's very dangerous to predict in Jamaica because justice grinds very slowly. We sit in terms. This term is midway through. It's the Easter term. The summer term will begin after the Easter period. I don't see that this matter will be heard, and this is a huge prediction before late this year, earliest. That is why bail is important, eh?
Earlier you said to me that this was the anniversary for when they were found not guilty. So to see that they were not convicted, I know you must be feeling.
Yes, in fact, it was the 13th of March, 2014, when the jury came back and said guilty, and the prosecutors were celebrating. Now we are celebrating. 10 years and one day after.
How do you plan to celebrate?
Oh, I tend to go on my knees and give thanks that hard work has paid off, and no doubt to say that we have made a contribution to the jurisprudence. Myself and Ms. Bianca Samuels, we have contributed to the jurisprudence in Jamaica to direct future trials that you can't do this and get away with it.
All right, so based on your experience in the legal fraternity, what is likely to happen at the Court of Appeal? Like, what are some of the options?
You'd have to go to a guru or an Obia man or someone to tell you that. I can't predict what the court will do, and it's improper of me to say what the court will do.
You did ask for options, though, and there are really only two.
There should be a retrial, or there should not be a retrial. We can't say which of the two, but whomever is to argue on behalf of Sean Campbell will be arguing strenuously that based on a number of factors, there ought not to be a retrial.
See, she tells you better than I can.
I mean, I alone think it's so cute that Bert Samuels is there ushering his daughter into the legal profession. I think it's so nice. But anyway, guys, back to where we left off with Deon Jackson Miller. The Privy Council took option 2, which was to say to the Appeal Court of Jamaica, you must hear this case based on these technicalities. Why didn't the Appeal Court in Jamaica listen to this case? Suppose Vybz Kartel never have the money and the resources to get his case to the Privy Council. He would have rot and died in prison. Him and him co-accuse them. And that is just the truth of the matter. And you see how long it takes to get there. And Deon Jackson Miller also alluded to the fact that whenever there is a case to the Privy Council, they always, when it comes to Jamaica, complain about the time that it takes. So that is a problem that we have to fix in Jamaica in our judicial system. So, when you hear from Bert Samuels, he is the attorney, he and his daughter. They are the attorneys for one of the co-accused, Sean Storm, in the case. Bert Samuels made some good points, but one thing I like about what he said is that he's not really bashing the justice system in Jamaica. Because that's just how it works, guys. The justice system is not, no justice system is perfect. they're going to make mistakes, and that's why you have defense attorneys and courts of appeal, right? But this one now, it is kind of unusual because they made the appeal to the appellate court and they were denied. So you have to go to the Privy Council, So it is just one of those things. But now we know Vybz Kartel was not acquitted. And of the 4 options, the Privy Council decided to send the case back to the appellate court in Jamaica and let them hear it and tell them what went wrong in the case initially. So now they must take that from the Privy Council and decide what they want to do. In the meantime, Isaac Buchanan, it was reported today that he will make bail appeal for Kartel. Likewise, Sean Storm and the others are expected to do same. Thank you for watching. Keep it locked here to Jamaica Politics Uncovered. Make sure you are subscribed. You have your notification on. You're inviting your friends over here. And make sure that you're also tuning into our live broadcast weeknights at 7 p.m. Thank you. Have a good evening.